All right, pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and settle in. Because what you're about to hear is the story almost nobody dares to tell out loud. Meghan Markle's life looks, on the surface, like a fantasy ripped straight from the pages of a glossy magazine. Designer wardrobes that seem endless, private jets waiting at her whim, a sprawling Montecito mansion sparkling in the California sun, and a flawless presence on every magazine cover imaginable, always perfectly lit, immaculately styled, and camera-ready. From the outside, she embodies glamour and effortless luxury, but dig beneath the surface, and the picture starts to shift. The numbers don't add up. They never quite have. The Netflix deal? Shrouded in silence. The Spotify contract, gone without a trace. Brand collaborations appear sporadically, fade quickly, and rarely leave a lasting mark. And yet the lifestyle she projects never falters. The mansions, the luxury cars, the private planes, they keep rolling, seemingly without pause. Those close to her whisper discreetly behind closed doors, using a polite euphemism, funding continuity. Translation? Someone is quietly footing the bills, strategically, deliberately, and certainly not out of pure generosity. This right here is where the real story begins. Not with love, not with royal fame, but with something far more tangible: money. Serious, cold, calculated money. Strip away the royal titles, the sparkling headlines, and the public appearances, and what remains is a woman living an extraordinary, ultra-luxurious life that doesn't quite align with the bank accounts on paper.
That gap between appearance and reality says more about Meghan Markle than any interview, speech, or public statement ever could. The crown may have handed her fame, recognition, and influence, but the real fortune? That has always come from somewhere else entirely. When Meghan first stepped into the royal sphere, she believed she had stumbled into the ultimate jackpot. Castles to roam, carriages to ride, limitless allowances, and every privilege that seemed imaginable. She envisioned wealth so vast it seemed almost fictional, a life of unimaginable ease. Yet the truth of royal finances was far less glittering. Harry's personal net worth, though comfortable by most standards, fell far short of the billionaire dream. The majority of his income derived from his late mother's inheritance and a modest military pension, leaving him with far less personal wealth than outsiders assumed. The palaces, jewels, grand estates, they were never really his to command. The illusion of opulence was there, yes, but it masked a far more complex, restrictive reality. And it was in that contrast, between perception and reality, between glamour and financial limits, that Meghan's strategy began to form. A keen awareness that access, positioning, and connections could achieve what raw wealth alone could not.
Behind the glossy facade of Meghan Markle's life, designer wardrobes, private jets, and a Montecito mansion gleaming in the California sun, there's a story few dare to tell. Prince Harry, once endlessly devoted, now struggles with a painful realization. He may no longer know the woman he sacrificed everything for. A single video near the Ponte Alma tunnel where Diana lost her life set off a chain reaction of anger, heartbreak, and disillusionment, exposing cracks in a marriage that seemed perfect from the outside. Meghan's past relationships, her pattern of leaving chapters behind, and the disappearance of friends suggest a woman who evolves relentlessly, often leaving others to catch up, including Harry. He fights not palace politics, but the creeping awareness that the freedom he sought by stepping away from royalty has become another kind of confinement, one built inside his own home. Meanwhile, whispers about Meghan's finances hint that the glamorous life she leads doesn't match her legal income, relying instead on strategic funding continuity from hidden sources. Royal wealth was never truly hers. The crown offered status, not the billionaire lifestyle she envisioned, prompting a shift from princess to strategist, from love-driven partner to financial planner. Even before Harry, Meghan was quietly orbiting power and influence, attending exclusive gatherings like Soho House, connecting with billionaires, and building the network that would later sustain her opulent life. The palace, the titles, the fame, they were all tools in a larger plan. But for Harry, the fallout is deeply personal. A man haunted by echoes of loss, trapped between his mother's memory, a wife he cannot fully understand, and a marriage whose future feels as fragile as a shadow in the tunnels of Paris. Those early Soho House days were more than socializing. They were Meghan's schooling in power. Every dinner, every event, every introduction was a lesson in how billionaires move and operate. It was there she crossed paths with key players like Ron Burkle, a figure intertwined with royal circles, whose private jets, charity galas, and estates quietly laid the groundwork for Meghan's ascent. Yacht trips, Mediterranean retreats, a mix of actresses, influencers, and investors. She was always present, learning the rules of the game, absorbing the access that would later become her most valuable currency. By the time she met Harry, Meghan had perfected the art of strategic presence. Nothing in her positioning was accidental. Royal wealth wasn't her foundation. Access was. Understanding these early years explains the seamless continuity of her current lifestyle. Luxury homes, private jets, and endless glamour continue undisturbed, even as public ventures falter, Netflix deals slow, and brand partnerships waver. Behind the scenes, someone powerful has always been quietly underwriting her world, discreetly enabling her life to run without interruption. The mystery isn't sudden. It's a carefully built pattern, a network of influence and support that has ensured her rise and sustained her image, no matter the public setbacks.
So who is really behind keeping those private jets in the air, ensuring the luxury retreats are flawlessly arranged, and quietly paying the staff who maintain a world of comfort and appearance? The money doesn't flow from royal coffers or big-name media contracts. It's tied to a carefully cultivated network that existed long before Montecito ever glittered on the horizon. A web constructed not on ownership, but on proximity to power, maintained by a circle of quiet, loyal, and highly strategic backers who operate entirely out of public view. These shadow sponsors don't need contracts, accolades, or recognition. They only require Meghan to remain visible, relevant, and in the spotlight. So long as she stays prominent, their support continues seamlessly, without fanfare or interruption. Outwardly, Meghan appears as the epitome of independence, the self-made duchess, a woman who cast off royal constraints to craft her own empire, an emblem of empowerment, entrepreneurship, and relentless ambition. But behind the carefully polished image lies a far more intricate and calculated game, the game of longevity. For Meghan, success is not measured by the quantity of brand deals or the flash of a single contract. It is measured by influence, protection, and her ability to remain indispensable, untouchable, and in complete command of her narrative in an ever-shifting world. While the public admires the dazzling, rebellious Duchess, the invisible architects of her life, the silent network, the discreet financiers, and the unseen power players are the ones who keep her world spinning without pause. Every photo from Montecito, every magazine cover, every perfectly curated social media post conceals an intricate history, a carefully constructed strategy, and a network of alliances designed to maintain her prominence at all costs. Meghan did not simply marry into royalty. She strategically inserted herself into a pre-existing system of influence and access, and she has never let go. The crown may have provided the spotlight, but it is these silent backers, these whispered alliances and invisible supporters who have ensured that light never dims. And the most striking aspect of her story is hidden in plain sight.
Behind the flawless appearances, the polished images, and the social media perfection lies a meticulously orchestrated machine, a world of influence, strategy, and protection that guarantees Meghan Markle remains front and center, untouchable, insulated from chaos, and always in control of the narrative. Every decision, every appearance, and every move is part of a larger plan, a game played with patience, precision, and an understanding that true power often remains invisible, quietly shaping a life that to outsiders seems effortless, but is in reality the result of decades of careful maneuvering, strategic alignment, and an unparalleled mastery of the art of influence.